Sony's chairman Tom Rothman has been making the rounds talking about the future of Spider-Man, and he specifically talked a little bit more about Spider-Man 4 with Marvel Studios. And currently he says that there's still some time to go up until we hear official and formal announcements, but his hope is that everybody involved with the previous films would be back in some capacity. And this has a lot of people worried, so let's talk about maybe why you shouldn't be worried about this. So first and foremost, make no mistake about it, Sony has their biggest films ever thanks to their work with Marvel Studios and Disney. They literally made more on Spider-Man No Way Home in terms of profit than every single standalone Spider-Man film they made by themselves. They got a massive amount of money from that. Of course, those profits for the development of the film and what you get in the back end is split with Disney Marvel, so everybody benefited. Sony sees with their own attempts outside of the MCU that people are starting to figure it out. So in an interview, Tom Rothman was talking about the future, and Spider-Man was brought up and what the idea and creative teams for Spider-Man 4 are. When replying to Deadline, he said, and I quote, "We hope the whole group comes back. There are movies I would call adjacent to Spider-Man's universe. That's Kraven, which we're shooting now, and Madam Web, which will be starting this spring," end quote. Now again, going to when he talks about the whole group, this is the part of the conversation with Deadline that's the one that's getting the most people, and how he says it, what he says, and how he says, "we hope." Again, this is directly in a reply to the fact that they want to know whether Tom Holland, John Watts, and the rest of the cast are returning. And that's what he says, while then jumping ship to talk about the other stuff they're working on as well. And you can just right there tell that he's no longer just talking about the Sony stuff alone. He obviously talks about it in a way that's connected to the MCU. For example, if they want the version of MJ that's in the MCU, well, they can't have her because she's literally bound to the MCU, just like that version of Spider-Man. Sony cannot just take her and use her somewhere else. And that's kind of the point here. The important piece of the bigger picture here is he's trying to tell people not to worry because, like he said, way back in the day, like 2 years ago at this point, when the Spider-Man deal went south and then it was back to normal, he said that he hopes that the future of Spider-Man is a joint effort, including productions and revenue, with Marvel Disney. They're not going to let that go. Again, the marketing machine, the power that is Disney, to be able to take the character you have on film, put him into Disney theme parks, revolve it around that, make more merchandise than ever before, offer you free advertising on their own outlets and their own stations without you having to spend millions, is what pushed Spider-Man to be as big as it is the last two entries. So again, there is a monetary gain here that they don't want to lose. And if Sony was suddenly to just do this on their own, well, you're not going to see this type of profit. So like he says, he hopes everybody's back from the ground up. They want everybody back to just continue Spider-Man, and they're not going to let that go. That's kind of the key here.